and it was, how many followers do you have? Or,
Yeah,
you know,
I
what are
didn't get
your
a part
analytics?
once because I didn't have enough followers.
I don't care about Instagram. Instagram sucks. Right, but just so you know, if you have over this many followers, you can get the movie funded. Well, I want to make the movie, so
It's scary कि आप numbers पे किसी को आप decide कर रहे हैं किसी को काम आता है, उनका craft आता है कि नहीं आता है.
Now we want to cast somebody because they have specific number of followers, but
I've
it
heard
doesn't
that a lot.
necessarily mean that they're good actors. They're being cast for something else.
Problem is when you are deciding on casting a particular actor depending on their followers.
भाई ऐसे casting director में वो काम ही नहीं करना जो Instagram देख के cast करते हैं.
I lost on a very nice film because I did not have followers. I was like, now what do I have to do? I have to be an influencer.
This is exactly the question I asked when I was hosting a panel with actors and directors that never went live. And what was the immediate consequence? The actor walked out of the interview. What's funny is that while I asked this question, there were a few actors in the panel who were genuinely describing their experience of casting agencies looking at social media followers as a contributing factor to whether they fit the role for the project. However, I was reprimanded by the actor, who later on left the discussion because I wasn't truly seeking for answers about the craft. This is a reality that many actors are dealing with, and it almost led to this unnecessary back and forth where I wanted to move on from the topic and the actor kept on badgering me on how the quality of my questions should be better. One of the wildest experiences I've had, because these are genuine concerns that actors are dealing with when wanting to be hired for projects in Mumbai. You can go wild in assuming who the actor might be, but I think it's going to be extremely tough for you to narrow down anyone, irrespective. I want to tell you the psyche of social media influencers because I might have an idea due to doing this for so long. So regarding the talent that blew up in the YouTube and Instagram space in the era of 2012 to 2016, what is considered to be the growing stage of the digital space in India, there are two types of influencers, and this remains true for even those who are popular today. Either one is determined to create a niche for themselves or run with whatever sticks. Take an example like Bhuvan, who through his handheld camera skits had created a space for himself. Multiple characters performed and written by him, and the consistent nature of these skits in turn created a relationship of the characters with the audience. Then you look at someone like Ranveer Alabadia, a man who has constantly pivoted dependent on what's best for business and engagement, not really defining himself for a long period of time with a particular niche. You had fitness and lifestyle videos initially. The growth and widespread nature of the internet led him to do more Hindi content regarding self-worth and fashion, and then eventually understanding that the game is long-form content and ensuring that the audience is on the platform for a long duration of time. He pivoted towards podcasting, and successfully so. It's important to understand that either of these strategies can lead to a path towards irrelevance, especially if there is absolutely zero evolution in the process. The same skits can turn out to become boring. The same cycle of guests on a podcast can lead to the same old discussions, in turn disconnecting from the audience. As we spoke in the previous episode, if the talent themselves don't acknowledge a sense of boredom creeping in with the audience, it will slowly start reflecting on the lack of engagement on their videos. If you see two cases in the same regard, like Sejal Kumar and Kusha Kapila and Dolly Singh, both sets of influencers have dealt with their own existential crisis on the internet. Sejal dealing with spreading herself too thin and not really having a niche, in turn confusing our own audience of what the channel is about. And then you have Kusha and Dolly, who at one point of time were being criticized for typecasting themselves with their South Delhi auntie skits. So finding several various niches can disillusion your own audience or can lead to you hitting a jackpot of engagement. What I have clearly noticed about influencers on a larger, more general spectrum is that they want to maximize their monetary potential when things are hot. I'll tell you a consistent experience of Indian influencers at parties, especially in this country. When someone asks them what they are doing and they say social media, the question right back at them is, aur uske baad kya? This assumption that this is rather basic from an occupation point of view, so what is the larger goal? So you are dealing with influencers who have an inbuilt mentality that the job is not enough, and one needs to pivot in several business idea directions, and this is where you say yes to everything. If it is a hydration drink, if it is a shapewear brand, If it's merchandise, it can be an array of things, and more power to social media influencers, because this power simply did not exist back in the day, where there were gatekeepers for every industry. I think it's empowering that one gets to have the power to build an audience through their personality and then benefit from the audience trusting them if they launch or promote anything. Kusha's Underneath is a masterclass in marketing that way. That's different that in some cases these products launched by influencers are absolutely mediocre, only banking on the loyal followers who will purchase and support blindly. But there are examples of a tiny seed pushing through a cracked pavement in the same atmosphere. This environment has led to everything becoming blurred. Influencers can be actors, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, writers, marketing consultants for global brands, and this especially annoys those who have been in their respective industries for decades. This is what's happening regarding the film industry, where from a purist standpoint, you want to cast based on talent, but the followers of an influencer seem to change that process. It's not that simple to villainize every influencer regarding this aspect, and that's why I want to categorize them in 5 sections. Mujhe star banna hai. See, this is where the risk of fully transitioning to full-fledged acting roles can go either of 2 ways. Either you can absolutely hit it out of the park and surprise everyone, or your lack of range and talent can be exposed to the public. This is where management of social media influencers really want to push them as acting talents to be reckoned with. I really equate this category of influencers, especially YouTubers, to TV actors transitioning to films, because they take the risk of losing out on a consistent monetary flow through their YouTube in exchange for pursuing feature films or web series. Much like how TV actors sacrifice the consistent paycheck on television to pursue something that is inconsistent and unpredictable. I think it's been a mixed bag for influencers like Prajakta Kohli and Kusha Kapila. While I am not personally a fan of the web series Mismatched, it somehow has a growing fan base, so much so that it gets renewed for multiple seasons. I don't think the reception of the show would be any different with another actor, because the writing is mediocre as hell. Kusha, on the other hand, seems to do a bunch of everything versus strictly acting, but her performances in films and web series like Sukhi and Life Hil Gayi, respectively, have been passable at best. The content itself from a writing point of view has never been a standout, so the opportunity versus talent debate is never too apparent. I think the influencer who has benefited the most in this category, where people saw genuine talent beyond their YouTube ecosystem, is Harsh Beniwal, especially if you were to see Campus Diaries that released on MX Player, a widely popular show, and Harsh specifically standing out as an actor. Main khud star banunga. This category is about influencers who will be the master of their own fate. There is no point in growing such a large audience all with your own effort if you were to tell them that now, if they want to join the big leagues, they have to stand outside the pearly gates of established production companies and beg for work. Bhuvan, with Dindora and Taza Khabar, realized that one can create an empire for themselves only if they have creative control of the projects they are featuring in. So why not co-produce this project himself, versus being at the behest of projects where you have zero creative control? This is something that I believe Ashish Chanchliani is pursuing, because I am sure they have been given countless opportunities to be sidekicks of the main hero in multiple Hindi film projects. But rather than getting typecast as that one comic relief in mainstream movies, why not take matters into your own hands and create something special? At least one can then own up to the success or failure of that project. You are merely a marketing tool for us. This is something that I believe influencers know themselves. They know that they have been handed over a supporting role in the film or series, less to do with their acting potential, but more as a practical addition that will aid the marketing of the title. See, just objectively think about it. It makes no sense for Ajay, or Carrie Minati as we all know him, to be a part of Runway 34 other than for promoting the film. You look at the case of influencers like Agastya or Apurva being cast in Nadanya, knowing very well that it's a straight to digital release. The makers themselves know that half of the marketing of the title is done by just hiring such talent. The streaming numbers of Nadanya is a testament to the same. Everyone tuned in to see what a hot dumpster fire it was. You look at the absolute monopoly manner in which Jio has invested with its Jio Hotstar Takeover, essentially wanting to create their own YouTube ecosystem with multiple shows being handed over to YouTubers. But it's merely investing big versus genuinely seeking out for quality. It's more a quantity game, almost a blitzkrieg version of taking over the digital space. The less I say about the fictional shows, the better. A roll of the dice is usually a disaster. These are the cases where one realizes that a roll of the dice or an absolute risk with a feature film purely based on the digital presence of influencers can be disastrous. This is something that was experienced when Shirley Setia was cast opposite Abhimanyu Dasani in Nikamma, or when Alt Balaji thought of doing a web series with Faizu called Bang Bang. It's purely a hiring process based on their followers, and the quality was absolutely disastrous. The final category, however, is the most interesting and mind-boggling, and I have a personal anecdote to share with you because I almost got cast as a villain in a Telugu film. The look and vibe. These are the cases in the Telugu film industry, and I'm not saying specifically the Telugu film industry, but many of the actresses, especially when you see so many North Indian and foreign faces being cast as the female leads, not knowing the language at all, is because casting many times in these industries, Telugu specifically, happens just on the basis of the look and vibe of the women. But now, there is a different case of casting, where those who have created a presence online and an impression through either dance or their skits can be considered for major roles. You have Niharika on one hand, who is well versed with Telugu, who has signed with Geeta Arts, and you have got a dancer like Imanvi, who has bagged a Prabhas movie, largely due to the impression they created on social media. Coming to me, I was contacted by a production company randomly that is producing one of the biggest films from Telugu cinema, that is almost in limbo of sorts with its release date, because they liked my look and wanted me to play one of the villains. I literally flew down to Bombay to do the look test. I delivered my lines in English and Hindi, but it fell through and did not materialize. But imagine that your boy, just on the basis of the bootleg Bobby Deol he looks like, was going to be possibly playing a major villain role in a Telugu commercial film. The script is insane, by the way. That's how much the lines are blurred. Is the evolution of casting for acting roles right or wrong? I guess that is what is debatable. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you think about this new phenomena within the film industry. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.